Up, everyone, welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Video Game Fight School channel. Thank you very much for tuning in. Woo, it's good to be back. It's been a few days, and I wanted to go ahead and talk a little bit about Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, talk a little bit about Gotham Knights, and something that is at the core of what a lot of gamers are talking about, or at least wanting to see here in the near future, with their contention of live service games and games that basically provide you an experience that you can play while not always connected to the internet. Most of you that have been watching this channel, you already know that from the technical side, I see where a live service game is necessary. The consoles that we have right now, and even some of the PCs that are available to a wider audience, are not necessarily capable of running a lot of these games that have online connectivity, co-op play, multiplayer very easily. So using the server-based infrastructure is actually a good way to kind of share the resources so that your consoles can run these games at like 60 FPS. Some people have not mentioned this, nor have many said this, but if you actually pay very close attention to the gameplay for Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, you're going to realize that a lot of the gameplay that we saw was kind of blotchy. It wasn't all 60 FPS. And this is why they said the game was targeting 60 FPS. I don't necessarily think that their optimization had reached that point at the time they were showing the game. So you could look very closely at some of the gameplay and you will realize that the game was playing at less than 60 FPS, even on the PC version that they used for the PlayStation State of Play version, State of Play presentation of the game, which was insane. So I think this game is going through its optimization problems at the moment, and they want to make sure that they don't go make any mistakes like the way Warner Brothers went ahead and pretty much, made the developers push out Gotham Knights when it wasn't necessarily ready. That being said, there's a side to all of this gaming that a lot of people don't necessarily pay attention to. I've heard a lot of people say, if you're playing your games on PC, you don't necessarily have the, capability of actually owning the games in terms of the fact that on Steam, it's all digital and so on and so forth. But that's not necessarily always the case. Yes, I can see how if you buy your game on Steam, that game basically needs for you to, have a Steam account and so on and so forth. But you can play most of those games offline if they're offline capable in a sense. Gotham Knights, you can play the game offline as long as you have the game installed on your computer. That's one way to go. But there is a better methodology to be able to get your games, and that is using good old games. People that are not on the PC ecosystem don't really know this, but CD Projekt Red has a digital game store, and all the games that they actually sell there are games that you can own without any DRM. They're all DRM-free games. And for those of you in the superhero genre, you're wondering, what the heck do I care about this? But here's the thing. The Arkham games, the classic ones that everybody, is all about, are actually here. City, Night, Origins, and even, I think Asylum. Oh, yep, there it is. Asylum is here. So all the Arkham games are here. They sell them from time to time at their $20 price tag, but at this point in time, they're actually on sale. So these are copies of the game that you can pretty much own. Once you download the installation file, you don't need an internet connection anymore. That, installation file is now your game file. You don't need to update anything. You could just run it and install it on a computer and play perpetually. So it gives you that, freedom in a sense as a DRM-free version of the game. A lot of these games run de novo and so on and so forth. And so it's one of those things where, not necessarily only de novo, they run easy anti-cheat or whatever it is that these, companies all use. And so these can actually be a problem overall. So this is why I think Good Old Games has had some relevance in the PC ecosystem. And for the most part, many PC players don't usually jump in to this ecosystem as much because they don't really have a lot of the newer titles. But you will realize that CD Projekt Red's titles always release here. And that's the very interesting thing. So games like Cyberpunk 2077, you can come out here and buy a copy that's DRM free. Even some games like Disco Elysium, they're not necessarily new for sure. You can also get the Metro games and so on and so forth. And these are, aspects that you can explore if you wanted to enjoy some of that, capability to be able to conserve and reserve your own games without having them being tied to the online side of things. And I think this was a very big conversation that was had when Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League was first, unveiled in regard to its gameplay. I can understand some people saying, well, we understand the shooter side, we understand the live service side, but can we not get a portion of the game or an aspect of the game where somebody can play, by themselves? And this is, in my opinion anyways, where I think the developers probably were at a, dilemma in a sense. And I understand, and I said that, possibly that this game was in a position where you had to play the game, connected online and so on and so forth. And this delay might just be mainly to kind of, take on some adding of content and so on and so forth. But having thought about it again over the course of, say, the past few weeks, I think there's that possibility that the developers have actually gone in to provide an offline mode for a game like this and separate your online mode. Now, let me explain. A game like Red Dead Redemption, right? Red Dead Redemption 2 and Red Dead Online are basically two different game modes. Red Dead Redemption, you can play that game 60 FPS, depending on the machine you're using, enjoy the open world without needing any connectivity. That way, the game has already been locked in. It's been built for your machine or machines that are of similar class to run at a specific level of performance, and you can enjoy the game. The game doesn't have to share resources. A game like Gotham Knights is built in a way where you kind of have, this capability of sharing resources, but the developers decided not to and made the game somewhat ambitious in a sense where somebody can jump into your session at any time, which can cause performance issues. Rather than them having to maybe split the game like Red Dead did, they went that direction, which really did hurt the game and hurt the perception of the game in regard to, performance as a whole. And then you have a game like Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, which is going full blown online. What if the developers can move this game to the Red Dead, side of things where your online play is, in a sense separate from your offline play? And we don't necessarily, I don't know how we can actually tell how they're going to be able to sync achievements and sync progression and completion and all that stuff. Maybe they're going to do it in a way where once you decide that you need your online play, capable, you have to basically log into an entirely different, aspect of it. And then basically they could just put some chapters in an offline mode where you can play those chapters by yourself if you want, or then, allow for you to be able to select an online mode. I think that's actually a good middle ground to do things. However, the challenge is it will require recoding that offline version of the game in a different sense where you don't necessarily now need to replicate all of these, your different actions. It is not too much of work to do, but it is a sizable amount for a team of this caliber. And I think they can get the job done. So fundamentally, they're not necessarily going to be changing the core of the game. There's no need for them to do that. The game seems like it's, pushing that direction. But at least if they were able to provide that option for players, I think I can see where this game gets a better, more padded landing overall. And players are able to say, okay, maybe this is something that I can go in for the single player. And if I like it enough, maybe me and my friends can jump in. And then there's also the capability of going with, the cross play or cross, save maybe capability and so on and so forth to be able to open up aspects of the game that usually a lot of players, are not always too quick to jump into, which is the online and the multiplayer, set of things. But these are just some ideas that I've been thinking about with Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League because the silence has been really interesting. We're approaching April. There has not been an official confirmation about the delay anyways that I've seen. We've seen the unofficial ones. Haven't seen anything about their Twitter page or about the developer saying anything. I mean, it's been really, really quiet. Very quiet, maybe too quiet for my liking. Because if you actually go to like Rocksteady's, their Twitter page, you're not necessarily going to see anything different in a sense. It's really weird the way they went ahead and did this. I mean, if you go back here, their latest post was March 8th. And then, you saw something, our Arkham team ready to unleash, chaos. And then they still have their PlayStation Plus presentation. There is nothing on their official Twitter page that said, hey guys, we're sorry for, moving this game back. So you never know, man. Maybe we might still get the game on May 25th. And they just probably had that news kind of come out of left field. But that's pretty much my, thoughts surrounding all of this. And let me hear your thoughts in the comment section. Hopefully we'll talk pretty soon in another one. Peace out.